It's been a crazy, crazy week. We had the earnings report of Tesla, Apple. We have DeepSeek impacting the stock market. There's so many things going on. Let's go with the first thing, all right, which is DeepSeek. Everybody is talking about DeepSeek, all right? And here's my personal thoughts on that. I don't expect DeepSeek to be taking over Microsoft or to be taking over ChatGPT. And for people that are unaware what DeepSeek is essentially the Chinese version of ChatGPT. However, it costs a lot less to produce it. At least that's what they're saying. And another part is that people are wondering how in the hell did DeepSeek was able to even produce without NVIDIA high-end chips. Now, that's another thing that people are wondering about. And because I don't think that DeepSeek is going to take over Microsoft or OpenAI, things like that, there is one way it really impacts these Magnificent Seven stocks, which is that it makes AI a cheap commodity. Because this whole time before DeepSeek had even come online, we had been expecting that DeepSeek was this. To produce AI, we had to spend so much money. And not only that, we were expecting America to be the only players in AI because we weren't expecting Latin America or Europe or Africa or Asia to have their own AI models. And we were expecting companies like Microsoft, companies like Amazon and Google to be making so much money off of AI once they have the infrastructure built out. Well, now we know it's not just going to be US that's going to be playing out in this AI game. It's going to be China too that's competing in their own AI game. And not only that, because it's cheaper to produce AI, it'll be more accessible to the regular person like myself, to you, at a cheaper price, which is great for consumers. However, for companies like Microsoft, companies like Google Gemini, it's not so great for them because it limits how much they can charge. For example, in the past, maybe they might be able to charge thousands of dollars. Now, for each user, they might be able to charge a couple $100, right? Because it's just so much cheaper. Why would you spend money on Microsoft AI if you can get almost the same as good as an AI with a startup in the US or a foreign AI company? That's the thought process behind it, and that's how it's impacting the tech companies within the US. And I see it with my companies with like Microsoft, and my thoughts on it, I've been buying on the Microsoft dip. That Microsoft has been one of the companies that's been really hit because they're one of the big investors in OpenAI, and because DeepSeek is literally a direct competitor to OpenAI valuations had to come down a bit, right? Before, when they were the only game in town, when it was a monopoly, the valuation had been overextended. Now, with Microsoft, all the AI companies is pulling back. I'm buying into this pullback mainly because I know these companies were making money before the AI game. I believe they can continue to keep on increasing their revenues and net profits and cash flows even without AI. Because when I think about Microsoft, I think about the Azure growth, right? Azure cloud growth. You can see it in my YouTube shorts. I'm buying more Microsoft, you guys. And I still have my Google holdings. And because with Google, just like Microsoft, it was making money before AI game had come along. They were making money on the YouTube, the ad search business, the Google cloud business. They're all growing organically, which I love about. Now, in terms of other news, let's talk a little bit about the Tesla news. Tesla news is very interesting because Tesla is currently at a 196 PE valuation, all right, which is pretty darn high. All right, I believe it's one of the highest Magnificent Seven valuation. However, on the most recent earning that just came out, Tesla actually missed on top and bottom revenue earnings beat. And I'm thinking to myself, they had net income going down, they had net profit margins going down. The stock might probably take a big hit, right? Because the valuation is so high. It's at a 196 PE ratio. The valuation has to come down. But no, you guys, the valuation of freaking Tesla actually went higher. And it made me so confused because, yes, I'm an amateur investor. Yes, I'm not some professional like Warren Buffett, but I've been investing in the market for 10 years. It is not so common that when you miss out on your earnings, that the stock actually goes up 4% after earnings post. And that was so crazy. When it comes to Tesla, you guys, I am very jealous because for Tesla investors, or at least the company itself, they get the benefit of the doubt, right? They get the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be producing AI cars, self-driving cars, without the product even being released yet, right? When we know there are companies like Waymo from Google that is already has self-driving cars, but it doesn't get the same amount of hype, same amount of enthusiasm as Tesla does. And that to me is just so crazy. I am nowhere near even thinking of buying a Tesla. The ironic part is that I drive a Tesla, but for me to buy a Tesla, the Tesla stock itself, it will take me a while, you guys, because the valuation, the fact that it's missing earnings, is just not my cup of tea. My thing for Tesla earnings, though, is that if you are getting into Tesla, you better have the guts of steel because there could be a day when the valuation gets corrected, and that can be a huge, huge drop. Now, another company that has reported earnings that was so darn interesting was Apple. All right, because Apple beat on top and bottom earnings beat, which is very normal for Apple. I'm expecting Apple to beat on top and bottom. They made more money than last year. However, the one metric where revenues actually fell was on iPhone sales. And this is so important, you guys, because iPhone sales for Apple is about 50% of the revenue pie. So if about 50% or more than 50% of your revenue pie is slowing down, it's a concern to have, especially when you think about China and how it fell by 11% on the revenue beat in China for iPhone sales. That is a big concern for Apple investors because now there's more competition coming out from China. They might be getting into Xiaomi or Huawei phones, and this is something that people have to take into account. Now, the good thing that I will say Apple has going on for them is that I'll be honest, if I were to freaking lose my phone, my Apple phone, I will get another Apple phone. All right. It's as simple as that. And here's why. Although I don't think that Apple phone has innovated so much the past recent years, the biggest thing about Apple is that the freaking accessories that I have. All right. I have the Apple Watch, I got the Apple headphones, and because of these accessories that I have, what am I gonna do if I lose my phone? Am I gonna I don't want to make sure I don't want to make my accessories pointless. Because of that, I'm kind of stuck in this ecosystem of having to keep on buying Apple products. And because of another key part is the data transfer is so darn easy between Apple phones. And this is the one key thing that most investors don't realize is that if people were to lose their phones right now, the chances are an Apple iPhone user is going to get another Apple iPhone because of all the accessories there is to it. I do want to talk a little bit about Microsoft earnings. All right. The Microsoft earnings, you guys, I was very happy with Microsoft earnings. They beat on their revenue expectation, earnings expectation, yet the stock got hammered. And my thoughts is that stock got hammered because of the news of DeepSeek rather than the earnings itself. All right. Because when I look at a company like Microsoft, you guys, this is a company that is a compounding machine to me. Right? This is a company that is growing the Azure business. They're investing a lot of money into the new Microsoft Azure, which is that they want to make sure they build data centers that can work with AI, right? With as every year passes along, we're going to be having more and more data built out. And some of these data is going to be generated by AI. And because of that, you're going to need a place to store all this data. And my thoughts is that Microsoft and Google as well, and even Amazon is going to be big beneficiaries